Bright red blood droplets fell on the page, smearing a blush. Suddenly, Lin Xun only felt a flower in front of his eyes, and his mind was in a trance, as if he was in another world. The sky is high and wide, the mountains and rivers are picturesque, and a majestic figure stands alone on the top of the mountains. The mountain wind whistled, blowing his clothes and hair, making him seem like he was alone in the world, as if he wanted to ride the wind back home. Boom! Suddenly, this figure moved, and with a wave of his sleeves, the sky turned into a beam of bright light, rising into the sky, smashing the Kingming, and hitting the vast void outside the universe. Thump! In the void of the universe, there was originally nothing, but as this beam of light hit it, a vortex-like portal was forcibly broken open. The vortex is like a great abyss that devours the starry sky. I can clearly see that countless stars are being pulled over, like a pilgrimage of stars, as the vortex continues to spin and whistle, making a rumbling sound, and performing a shocking picture in the void of the universe above the Kingming. With a single blow, the sky will be broken, the universe will be shaken, and the door of nothingness will be opened. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, who would dare to believe that there are people in this world who can produce such monstrous power with just a wave of their sleeves? Lin Xun was shocked. This was the second time he had seen such a terrifying scene. The first time was when he was escaping from a prison in a mine. He saw an old and mysterious big hand, wrapped in hundreds of millions of purple fires, covering the sky and covering the earth. It has the power to destroy the sky and destroy the earth. At that time, Lin Xun knew that the power of the cultivator was so powerful, which made him even more determined to practice. But compared to the scene in front of him, the big hand that covered the sky from the sky seemed to be much inferior. Boom! Before Lin Xun could return to his senses, he heard a loud noise in his ear, which made his whole body swell with blood. His heart trembled, and he almost wanted to cough up blood. It was at this moment that he suddenly saw that in the depths of the vortex-like portal that had been opened outside the universe, a huge animal claw suddenly protruded, shredded the void, and slammed down from the blue sky. The beast's claws are too big, and the mountains in this world are like inconspicuous gravel in front of it. The claws are covered with icy scales, releasing fierce and majestic power. The gate of the stars has been opened by me. Who in this world can stop me from embarking on the eternal star road? Get out! In the cold snort, I saw that majestic figure standing proudly on the top of the mountains flicked his fingers, and a light suddenly appeared. Lin Xun didn't see clearly at all. The terrifying huge animal claw had vanished, and he could only see the blood pouring down the earth, red and infiltrating. But it wasn't over yet. Not long after that, a stalwart figure with a golden glow suddenly rushed out of the gate of stars that opened up in the void of the universe. That figure is so dazzling, it is as supreme as the scorching sun, it seems to be burning, it can illuminate the world, and it appears to be extremely sacred. Astral General? Ha ha ha, in order to stop me from seeking the way, even the general has been dispatched. Such a big hand. On the top of the mountains, the majestic figure let out a long howl, bold and uninhibited, with a contemptuous spirit that did not put the heroes of the world in the eyes. Lin Xun was shocked by the voice, his blood was in disorder, and his thin body couldn't help shaking violently. Although he resisted it, his mind was already buzzing, and he couldn't see anything. It was like having a nightmare, but no matter what, I couldn't wake up from it. I don't know how long it took. Lin Xun saw in a trance that the sky was shattered like a cobweb, revealing black holes after another, and the dazzling flames were like falling meteors, constantly descending from the sky, burning mountains and rivers, and destroying the earth. This is a doomsday scene. The sky has fallen, and the fire of destruction is coming like a tide, making the world feel like it has fallen into the furnace of a chaotic world, full of devastation and charred souls. Landslide. Tsunami. The grass turns to ashes. All souls are extinct. It seems that the end is really coming. Only on the top of the mountain, that majestic figure stood alone, watching all this silently with his hands behind his back. There was a sense of desolation and loneliness. After a long time, a long sigh resounded through the world. Time is not with me. At this moment, Lin Xun seemed to be infected, and there was a complex emotion of despair, depression, unwillingness and loss in his heart. At this moment, next to the majestic figure, there was an extra bronze coffin, 10 feet long, with countless dense and mysterious patterns engraved on the surface. The majestic figure stepped forward and opened the bronze coffin. Just when Lin Xun thought that the man was going to bury himself, he saw the man took out a scroll and a pen, and threw it into the bronze coffin, then put the whole bronze coffin on his shoulders and strode away. Lin Xun's pupils shrank suddenly, and he realized that the one stroke of the book was the treasure left to him by Mr. Lu. Swish! Almost at the same time, the majestic figure who had strode away seemed to sense something, stopped abruptly, and looked back. It was just a glance back, but that gaze was projected from a distance like traveling through the boundless time and space and years. At this moment, Lin Xunru was struck by lightning, and a roar sounded in the depths of his soul. At the same time, he couldn't help making a wow, coughing out a mouthful of blood, and a blue-white color appeared on Kingsley's face, which was originally slightly pale. He trembled violently, feeling that his soul was about to be torn apart inch by inch, and there was an indescribable sense of pain. The feeling was so strong that it felt like I was going to die in the next moment. And what caused all this was just because he had just dropped a drop of blood on the last page of that mysterious tome. At this time, the scroll on the desk was still on the last page, and the dark grey seal pen was quietly placed beside it. The blood that Lin Xun coughed up just now was accidentally smeared on the last page of the book. A dark red and messy eyes. But at this time, Lin Xun couldn't care about this. He could feel that his chi was rapidly weakening, and his soul was about to collapse. It seemed that he would die in a short time. Why is this happening? Lin Xun's heart was numb, and Mr. Lu told him that there was a shocking secret hidden in this book and a brush stroke. If he could solve it, even if he was deprived of the original spirit vessel, he could change his life against the sky. Nirvana rebirth. But Lin Xun never thought that when he started trying to crack this secret, such a change would happen. He saw unimaginable scenes, the terrifying means of the majestic figure attacking the gate of the stars, the sinking of the heavens and the earth, the burning of all things, and a tragic scene of doomsday. But it is precisely because of this that his chi and blood are in chaos, and his soul is struck by lightning, and he can no longer control the flow of chi in his body. What exactly is this for? Could it be that everyone who sees all this will not be able to escape the doom of death? Do not. Mr. Lu must have seen this, and since Mr. Lu can survive, why can't I? Thinking of this, Lin Xun suddenly understood why he was in such a state of being on the verge of death. It all stemmed from his poor cultivation and poor physical endurance. In fact, as Lin Xun speculated, in the past years, every person who received a stroke from this book was a first-class and powerful being in the world. People like this naturally won't let their minds suffer too much when they see the shocking scenes. But Lin Xun is different. He is just a young man at the inner strong level of the second realm of true martial arts, and the meridians and acupoints in his body are stagnant and weak, and he has an indelible scar. When he witnessed that scene, he was shocked, and shocked you can imagine how big it is. If it weren't for his amazing perseverance, I'm afraid he couldn't support it. But even if he is still alive now, he is not far from death. Lin Xun was not panicked. The habit he developed since childhood made him calm down quickly, but it was also his calm thinking that made him judge that with his current methods, he was unable to stop the flow of vitality in his body. How to do? Lin Xun's eyes fell on the last page of the book, and he couldn't help but frown when he saw the weird pattern on the page was dyed red by his own blood. This weird pattern is indeed not like a spiritual pattern. It is incomplete, dim, messy, and dense. It is difficult to describe its weird in specific words. Isn't the scene after scene that I saw just now deduced by this weird pattern? Lin Xun didn't know what was wrong with him. Even though he was on the verge of death, his mind was still drawn by this strange pattern. If this pattern is really a broken spirit pattern that I don't understand at all, then who drew it back then? In Lin Xun's mind, he thought of the majestic figure that was independent of the top of the mountains, and then his eyes fell on the dark grey seal pen on the side of the desk. Did you use this seal pen when you first drew this weird pattern? I don't know if it was a whim or a flash of inspiration. Lin Xun raised his hand and grabbed the dark grey seal pen, took a deep breath, and forced himself to endure pain and discomfort all over his body. This weird pattern on the edge of the pen is like a blade, dull and dull, showing a grey-black color, and when it landed on the weird pattern, it did not produce anything noteworthy. Just when Lin Xun felt a little disappointed, his pupils suddenly shrank, but he saw the bloodstains he coughed on the pages of the book. At this moment, he started to wriggle, and was quietly absorbed by the dark grey brush in his palm. Glang! With a clear groan, the sword that seemed to be hidden in the abyss suddenly came out of its sheath after being silent for a long time. Lin Xun felt his whole body froze, and he was controlled by an invisible force that could not be resisted, and he could no longer move. The dark grey seal pen held in the right hand seemed to come alive at the moment. The body of the pen was overflowing with a mysterious and obscure luster, pulling his wrist and 5 fingers, and began to write on the weird pattern outline.